Hey everybody, you're listening to the very first episode of the Nerd Work Podcast. I'm Invisible Katana. Thanks for checking this out. First of all, the big thing about this podcast is that, for the most part, it's just going to be me talking solo to you guys. So there will be special occasions where I'll be able to get some other people in, but for the most part, it's just going to be me talking to you guys about all sorts of different subjects. And with this being the very first episode, the first thing I initially was going to talk about, because my plan was to actually do this a couple weeks ago, was going to be Resident Evil. But over the weekend, I was able to attend Youmacon 2014, and obviously if you're watching this, you're seeing all my pictures. So this is a great way to talk about the con and also actually have a video where I could show all my pictures without having some sort of copyrighted music that I actually wouldn't be able to monetize. So if you want to, of course you can just not listen to me and just put on some good anime music and just watch all the pictures. And these are all my pictures that I took at the convention. I had a great time. I'm going to put a link in the description too for my group that I went to Youmacon with the Japanese Manga and Cosplay Club at the University of Michigan Dearborn. So I'm going to put a link to that below, so definitely check those out. Those are everybody's photos, and we did a podcast there where it was a couple of us and we were talking about our experiences with this year as well as previous years and some stuff that we hope to see, not just for Youmacon but for Midwest. If you don't know what that is, Midwest Media Expo is kind of like Youmacon Junior. It's the same people, just different time of year. It's warmer, which is probably my favorite part about it. But definitely check that out, get some cool pictures there and hear some of our experiences, as well as us talking about some other silly random stuff that has nothing to do with Youmacon, but that's kind of the point of a podcast, is to get off topic sometimes. As far as Youmacon 2014, though, and I mentioned some of this stuff in that podcast as well, but I didn't ever really get into detail, so I'm going to get into detail since this is just me talking to you guys. I enjoyed the convention. I think one of the big things that bothered me is one of the big things that bothered everyone, which is the fact that there was no schedule this year. So that really sucked for me right off the bat. It was pretty simple to get around because honestly, I went online and I would just put it into a draft message on my phone, like, okay, this time, this room. So it was fairly simple to get around, but it always sucks when something like that happens and you never know what you may or may not miss because of that. And one of the other big things that unfortunately happened when I was at the convention this year is something that happened, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was kind of the same feeling where there weren't a ton of panels where it was like, I really need to go to that. And the couple I went to were amazing. I think I went to, honestly, maybe up to 10 panels, probably less than that, I believe. But that was one of the big things my friends were talking about, where they just didn't have a lot of panels where they were just completely blown away. And like I said, I was fortunate enough to choose panels that I really did enjoy. And of course, it is all based on personal taste. So just because I didn't find a ton of panels that I enjoyed, of course, doesn't mean you guys didn't. And you can, of course, let me know in the comments below what panels you guys did see and what cosplays you saw, anything like that. Of course, put all your ideas down in the comments below. But there were a couple of situations where it was like, oh crap, I have to go to this panel, but I also want to go to this panel. And in most years that happens all the time, and this year I think it only happened maybe 2 times, which there's a good and bad with that, because the good thing is, of course, you don't have to manage your time so strictly, like you aren't so stuck on crap, I want to go to this, but then I have to split my time and go here for maybe 30 minutes and then go to the other panel. This time, for the most part at least, I was able to just sit at one panel and it's like, there's nothing else I want to see. And then the bad side to that is when it's like the complete opposite, where there are just flat out 0 panels you want to see. And that happened to me only twice. It happened on Friday where I went in because I wasn't able to pre-register this year. So I went in and nothing was happening that I wanted to see personally until 5 o'clock. So honestly, I went in, I got in line at 12, I got out, I got my badge at 2, and I was like, I'm glad this sort of happened this way, because there have been other years where it's like, I need to get the heck out of here so I can see this panel, but nothing was happening until 5, which I know wasn't the same. It wasn't the same for everyone, but that was just my experience where nothing was happening. And then Sunday, there wasn't a single thing I wanted to see until I think 5 or 6, around the same thing as it was on Friday. And that was the only panel I wanted to see at all on Sunday, and it was just, one thing. But outside of that, I still enjoyed my time there. I had of course, seeing all the cool cosplays is always the best. I went to, like I said, the panels I went to and I did get to enjoy were really great. I went to a philosophy and video games panel, which I really loved. That was a really cool one, just talking about philosophy in games, metaphysics, and we got into a discussion about time travel and all these weird sort of paradoxical type of things. That was really fun. I went to the Cowboy Bebop and Space Dandy panel, which was by far my favorite. That was like the one thing I saw on the schedule where I was like, I need to see this, and I was so glad that I was there because I really enjoyed that. I love Space Dandy, and that was like the big thing for me this year. Was like, I just want to get some pictures of Space Dandy cosplays and some Ruby cosplays, and that's pretty much all I got because I was at a Ruby photo shoot. So you'll notice a lot of my pictures are from the Ruby photo shoot, but I got some others here and there, and I got a couple pictures at that panel. And actually on Sunday, I was able to get a picture with Ian Sinclair while I was going through the dealer's room. I walked past him, and so I got a picture with him, which was really great because I love Space Dandy. So it was like, that's really cool because I've never, I haven't had that where it was like, I just really love like a certain character in an anime, and I haven't had that for like a long, long time. So when Space Dandy came out, it became like my new favorite, and it is still like my new favorite anime. And admittedly, I'm not up on everything. I know what's out, and what's around, but Space Dandy was like the big thing that came out for me in the previous couple years, and I really loved it. So I was really happy I got a picture with Ian Sinclair, and that was like the best part of the convention for me. It was like I actually got a picture with the voice actor, which I also had never done before. So it was really cool for me to have that experience. But I love the panels. I loved hanging out with my friends. Of course, we all go as a group, so we were running into each other, and it's like, oh, hey, we're going to the same panel, or my friends would have cool cosplays and stuff like that. So I really enjoyed Youmacon 2014. There were like ups and downs, I guess. Some people were just really kind of bored by it. Some of my friends were kind of fairly unhappy about it. But overall, I definitely loved it. I thought it was a great experience. Like any convention, it's just a weekend of fun for me. It's like I just get to go, and you're basically just in the nerd world. It's not like anything in the real world that's gone. Hopefully, if you have that experience, you're able to just like stay at the hotel for the whole weekend. All you do is see like a couple of people who work at the hotel, and everyone else is just either a voice actor or in cosplay or just another con-goer. So that type of experience is always really fun, even if the panels you go to end up being crappy to you. It's always fun to really go out there and just see all the great cosplays, which I saw some really great ones this year. And it was just fun, like going through the dealer's room was really fun, going through trying to manage my money, which I didn't do well at all. I was okay on Saturday. I was like, all right, I got what I was going to buy. And then Sunday, me and my friends went. It was like just, the Sunday thing. You just go through and just look at everything because, the con's about to end. And you just look at all the cool stuff. And then I ended up spending a bunch of money on the Katana. So that didn't exactly pan out the way I expected it to, where I saved all my money. But hopefully that works into something good. I think I got another really good opportunity out of that. So, sort of a win-win, I guess. Suffering right now because I'm waiting until I get paid again because I pretty much have nothing after buying that Katana. But I still loved it. I'm outside of managing my money now because I have like nothing. Overall, a really great experience. I had a ton of fun, like going to the Rave. That was really cool. The music was really great at the Rave, like it is every year, but I especially loved it. The final DJ, if you were at the Rave, you know who I'm talking about. I can't think of her name, unfortunately, but she was playing some really cool stuff. She had like Crash Bandicoot like music going. That was really cool. She had like Legend of Zelda, Mario, Mortal Kombat, Attack on Titan stuff going. And it was really cool because it's like typically you just have really great music, and sometimes people throw in some stuff, and it's like, oh, there's Pokemon, which she actually did too. And like, oh, there's Super Mario Brothers, but she had like the Crash Bandicoot thing is what gets me the most. Like, of all the games where you could put stuff in, if like Legend of Zelda, it's like, okay, I could easily see someone putting that into, some rave music. But the last game I would think of would be like Crash Bandicoot. And so it was really cool. Like, it just caught us off guard. I was talking to my friend. I was like, is that Crash Bandicoot? He's like, yeah. And so it's just like, that's really sweet. It was unexpected, but definitely really fun to listen to and jump around and, jump through the pain in your feet, which I suffered through like the entire weekend after standing up. And I'm still suffering that now because my foot is stupid and I have flat feet, so I suffer with that after standing in line for 2 hours, and I still do. But I definitely enjoyed the rave. I enjoyed everything about the con. The gaming room was really cool. I love the fact that this year they actually had so many games. They were actually split up, like the console games and the arcade games, or at least some of the arcade games, because they had like the sit-down ones with the consoles, but then they had like Time Crisis and a lot of the Japanese rhythm games they had in a totally different area with the Ninja Turtles and X-Men and stuff. That was really cool. I enjoyed the fact that they had so many games, they were able to split it up. Gaming room, always pretty fun. Just sit down and, for me personally, play against the computer and be like, man, this is a pretty fun game. And then, some human comes in and they just whip you up really bad. But still a fun experience, even knowing you're going to lose like crazy. Still a good time in the gaming room. Getting stuff in the dealer's room was really fun. Seeing all the art is always really cool. I'm trying not to buy every single cool little figure or cool bead figure, which is really sweet. But overall, I definitely enjoyed it. I can't wait for next year to see what they're going to do. And, the convention is growing every single year. So I'm excited to see how the heck that junk is going to play out, where every year it keeps expanding, because it's the big thing. And it's really like the big anime convention in Detroit. It's really the only one. And a lot of people still don't know about it. I think it's kind of funny how that happens. And every year it's downtown Detroit, and then just more and more people end up finding it. So it's pretty cool. It keeps growing. And this was the 10-year anniversary, so that was pretty cool too. But it's just going to keep growing, and I don't know how it's going to play out in the next couple of years, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. And one of the big things I'm looking forward to for early next year is actually Midwest Media Expo, because that is Youmacon Jr. And this year was the first year, and I went to that. I enjoyed it. It was the first year, so it was a small con. It was weird to be in the same place, but it's not like going nuts like Youmacon. It was like, it's really weird to be here at this convention, and it's the same location and it's the same people, and you see some of the same staff members, and it's just really funny experiencing that. And it's like a fraction of the cosplayers, and it's just really funny to go through there, and it's just really mellow and stuff. It's not loud. It's almost like a regular day at the Renaissance Center. And it was just really weird to experience that, because I'm sure, like most people who go to Youmacon, I'm never in the Renaissance Center unless it's Youmacon. Like, I live in Detroit, and I'm never in the Renaissance Center, because honestly, there's no reason to go there unless you're going to that food court or the movie theater. And if you didn't know that there was one, there's like a tiny movie theater. They have like 8 theaters in there, I think. But I never go in the Renaissance Center unless it's like a super rare occasion or it's Youmacon. So going to the Midwest Media Expo this year was pretty interesting, and it's just super chill, and I'm excited to see who they have for this, or for next year coming up, and excited to see how much that one grows compared to how Youmacon grows, and if people enjoyed Youmacon who never experienced Youmacon before, if they'll go to Midwest, because for one, it's cheaper, and 2, it's warmer. So I think there's like 2 great bonuses right there. It's much warmer than going to a convention at the end of October. But I'm definitely excited for Midwest next year, as well as Youmacon 2015. I don't know what they're going to do, who they're going to have, but I'm definitely excited to see what cosplayers are there, what voice actors, what concerts and stuff they have, and just how everything pans out. But I definitely love this year. And I've only been to 2 different anime conventions. I've only been to Youmacon and ASIN. I went one time. I'm hopefully going to OhioCon, which I believe is the end of February next year. So I'm hoping to go to that as long as things work out. School and work-wise, I'll be going to that too. So that'll be pretty cool. And I heard that was actually really great too. So I'm excited for that one. If you guys know any other great conventions, like I know Shudokon is in Lansing. At least I believe it's Lansing. A lot of my friends were talking about going to that. So depending, of course, how money works out, I'll be going to some stuff, and of course won't be going to other things. But I'm excited to go to a new convention just because it's a new convention. It's one I haven't been to, which means it's a new area. It'll still be a convention, so it's like, it's a convention, but different panels, of course, different people are going to be there. All sorts of components where when you look at it on the surface, it's like, well, yeah, it's just like a new location and, of course, different panels. But when you get there, that feeling you get when you're at a different convention. It's just like a whole new world, which is kind of funny because it's really just like going to the same convention a different year. It's almost the exact same thing. There are always going to be new panels, and there'll be some classic panels that happen every single year, which is always pretty good if they're good panels, of course. But it's kind of the same thing. But if you go to a lot of conventions, you know what I mean by that. It's just a completely different feel, even though it's still just an anime convention. It's just like a whole new world. So excited for the convention next year, and like I said, hopefully going to OhioCon. If you've been to OhioCon before, please let me know what it's like. Is it really amazing? Because someone told me, like, if you like Youmacon, then you'll love OhioCon. That was pretty much the exact phrase. So if you've been to OhioCon before and you've been to Youmacon, please let me know. I'm going to cut my podcast here. Other episodes I'm going to be doing will hopefully be a bit longer. I'm going to have a lot more to talk about. The only reason I'm kind of doing this now is because it's for Youmacon, so mostly the reason for this specific episode being done right now is so that I have a video to put my pictures on. And the next podcast that I do, which will hopefully be around this time next week, hopefully I'll be doing one. It's Friday for me now. I have no idea when I'll actually upload this, so I'm trying to work through my other Youmacon videos as well as my group's Youmacon videos. So I'm not sure when this will actually be uploaded, but hopefully the next time I do my podcast will be about next Friday, and then have that uploaded by Friday night, and I'll be going from there. And that'll be a more normal podcast where it's not just focused on one thing that just happened. It'll be all sorts of stuff. Like next week, I'm definitely going to be talking about Resident Evil because that's my favorite franchise. So that was like meant to be the very first thing, but I wasn't able to start my podcast a few weeks ago. So of course it has to be the convention that just sucked all my money away, but gave me a lot of good times and a lot of cool pictures too. But thanks for listening. If you guys enjoyed Youmacon, or even if you didn't, put all your comments below. Definitely check out the stuff for OhioCon, see if you guys might be interested in that. If you did not know what Midwest was, definitely check that out, because like I said, it's basically Youmacon Junior, so it's cheaper to go there. You can pre-register right now. My friend actually just did it, which kind of blew me away. I didn't even think it would be up. But you can pre-register for Midwest right now, so check that out. It's cheaper, and it'll be warmer next year. So it's always fun to have a convention in the summer. You can kind of not have to worry about getting a cold because you cosplayed a character who just has like an open shirt. So definitely check out Midwest. Check out OhioCon, like I said. Check out every other convention too, just because they're awesome. And thanks for listening.